Well, welcome everyone, as always, to another tutorial, in this case, primarily supporting our digital fine art printmaking workshop. But as always, we're more than happy to answer questions and address topics about anything that's on your mind, because, as we like to say, often answers just can't wait. Let's have a look at the dot points, the questions that have come in this week, and see if the progression and the questions being asked, both philosophical and metaphorical and also quite literal in terms of printmaking practice, let's see if this doesn't also ring a bell for your good selves. So here we are, and as you can see, I've divided the topics into three sections. The first section has a series of considerations, analytical, but also procedural. And then case studies, soft proofing, black and white, split-toned or tinted prints, and what is being mapped in our gamut warnings and correcting out of gamut colours, which begs another question, summarised in this last sentence. The results I'm getting is not what I'm expecting, and is this correct or am I missing something? So this is a perfect way of concluding this journey from questioning the very nature of what we're doing to wanting to verify what I'm saying is correct. So let's begin at the beginning. And this notion of printing with accuracy. And it's a noble intent, especially in disciplines like fine art reproduction and so on. Now, printing with our standard profile variant, the first profile we make from your data, our BPWS, S for standard, but preferring, through experimentation, the perceptual rendering of some of our other variants. Instead, preferring an inaccurate print I find aesthetically looks better. Now, this begs a whole series of really interesting questions, and let's move through them and see where we end up. The first question is, what does accurate actually mean, and what does it imply? Consider this, for example. Here are synonyms qualifying this notion of accurate, that it's exact or precise, as we need it to be, for example, in scientific imaging, or that it's correct and true and right, as we might want it to be in fine art reproduction, that it's spot on or it's rigorous or faithful, as in a faithful reproduction. I think it's important to point out these different interpretations, but what do we do with that? Let me pair this with something we've looked at in earlier tutorials, where we talked about accurate versus stylized colour. And one of Andre's favourite topics, the indexicality embedded in traditional photography of all sorts, where the referent in front of the lens is what the photographic apparatus and the act of photography is indexing, is witnessing, is recording. This idea of accurate colour as an outcome of indexicality, and juxtaposed against this idea of stylized colour, which is more iconic, symbolism and so forth. So colour can be both about indexicality, the right colour in my reproduction, all the way through to highly emotive, aesthetically driven, going beyond indexicality, as we say so often, on our side of the lens, the thoughts, the feelings that we photograph that can't be seen. Now, this is our paper on our different profile variants, and I've extracted some of the definitions of a handful of our profile variants. But why do we go to all of this trouble instead of spitting out, as most people do, the standard rendering where the accuracy is attributed not to yourself, not to your judgments, not to your measurements, but to the process you use but don't control if you're using standard measurement devices and software solutions. Because this is hopelessly inaccurate in our estimation, both in terms of the colorimetric renderings, but also the aesthetic outcomes. Now, we need to dig a little deeper. On the one hand, we've got a colorimetric rendering. On the other hand, all of the other ways that we can convert from a source to a destination. And if we recall from the colour artistry workshop, a colorimetric rendering is numerically accurate. It's trying to take Photoshop numbers and turn them into the same numbers in our print. So I might measure on my screen this value. These are LAB numbers because they're device independent and confirmed by my info palette. Now, printing relative colorimetrically to my printer with an accurate profile should render that 51, should render that 96, should render that 81. You would think, but it doesn't. But what about the perceptual rendering intent then? That's imaginative, that's poetic, that's magical, it's doing things that are not meant to be able to be done. That is printing, for example, as we'll look at later on in this tutorial, printing out of gamut colors and have them appear correct in the print, even though they're out of the gamut of the print paper ink combination, and therefore can't be colorimetrically accurately rendered, i.e. numerically accurate. 51L, 51L from one device to another device? No, because we're doing all these other things. And in our case, BPWC, BPWN, BPWD, BPWP, and on we go with our different fit-for-purpose profile variants. We're doing all sorts of other things for other reasons. So I think we need to look at how these rendering intents actually work. And let's just start with this notion of accuracy in a relative colorimetric intent. Let's take the lightness axis in my source, and then we're looking at mapping this relative colorimetric to the lightness, for example, my monitor, or in this case, my print. This might be in Adobe RGB, where the white point has a color temperature of 6500 degrees Kelvin. Relative colorimetric is going to try and take that white point and move it as accurately as it can to be converted to the white point, in this case of my paper, which may be Canson platine fiber rag. So that white point becomes this paper white of different brightness, not 100%. In the case of this, it's 97% reflectance for such a beautiful paper. But the color is changing quite substantively, as we show in the workshop. Now, the problem with a relative colorimetric is it's just mapping white points, and all other colors get scaled accordingly to the converted white point. The reason we add in programs like Photoshop Mirage and so forth, black point compensation, is because by definition, the relative colorimetric scaling only scales the white points. We therefore also need to scale the blackest black in our Adobe RGB file to the blackest black in our paper. And then all values with relative colorimetric and black point compensation are then scaled from the paper white point to the paper's black point with that ink set and so forth. And the relative colorimetric intent with black point compensation in that profile should then achieve an accurate transference of those colors. But hang on, we can't, because the white point here is 100%. The white point over here is about 97% lightness. This is not zero. This is somewhere above absolute zero. We need to then soft proof to see with a relative colorimetric and black point compensation what is happening to our image visually, but also numerically. Now, this is where the whole argument falls down in Adobe products, for example, and most other applications. Because when we soft proof, the actual numbers don't change. But I'm going to show you how we can do this ourselves. I'll verify this, but also show you that a standard profile of your ink and printer and paper combination, which should be accurate because we're using a relative colorimetric, numerically accurate transformation, but it isn't, and that doesn't matter. Because that's why we build our B, P, W, N for neutral, where seeing is believing. Let's make a print of that color checker with a relative colorimetric plus black point compensation. I'm printing this out of Mirage with our custom profile, again for Canson platine fiber rag. We're using an Epson P900 printer with the Ultrachrome Pro 10 ink set. Let's have a look at using our, as I say in the notes, accurate relative colorimetric transference, which means all of the values should be accurate in the print as measured on our screen while soft proofing. Back in Photoshop, I've got my target I'm about to print, and I have specific values. At the moment though, in the tab, no proofing is on. So under my View Proof Setup menu, I can go into Custom, and here is my P900 Epson printer, Ultrachrome Pro 10 inkset, Canson Platine, and printing with my BPWC or BPWN profiles, using our relative colorimetric renderings with black point compensation turned on, and of course the absolute colorimetric conversion of the paper as white point to the monitor, using the keyboard shortcuts Control-Y or Command-Y, proofing off, proofing on. Now, have a careful look down here, because this is how accurate our profiles are relative to the screen appearance. Proofing off, proofing on. You can see the white point darkening from 100%, and can you see the color is also warming up. The problem though, even though I'm proofing, these numbers remain as they are. 96, what? Proofing off, proofing on. I can see a difference on the screen, but the numbers that Photoshop is reporting are not the visual change I'm seeing, because the soft proofing is being applied to the video signal being sent to my monitor. It's not a permanent change to the numbers in my file. So I have to then use something outside of the application, like my classic colorimeter reporting in LAB, these numbers as proofed to our BPWN with relative colorimetric. 94, 81, 66, 51, and so on. The numbers are soft proof through that profile. All I need to do now is print that test target, relative colorimetric and black point compensation. Remember, black point compensation is not selectable. In Mirage Print, it's built into the relative colorimetric intent, and make that print, which, as I said, to save time, I've already done. And then we use, in this case, a beautiful, sophisticated spectrodensitometer. And after having calibrated it, I measure that value, 51, 93.83, and so on, 21. So my profile, our relative colorimetric conversion, is numerically accurate, but only numerically accurate if we're measuring the numbers correctly on the screen, as I just showed you. We had to write our own software to be able to produce these variants according to our means, but also colorimetric numerical accuracy, whereas of course perceptual goes somewhere else entirely. Now, for us, the creation of these profile variants is analogous to the chemistry manipulation in our darkroom, where different papers from Kodak and so forth had different personality, surfaces, colors, amounts of silver and so on, which we further manipulated by the chemistry processing them. For us, it's no different. In the darkroom and here in the digital lightroom, the same image is being printed and sent either numerically accurately through our BPWN, relative colorimetric with black point compensation, rendering, or all sorts of imaginative, evocative, as the question begs, effects being applied through our additional tweaking, coercing, manipulating, inferring in our imaginative perceptual tables, adding all this other value according to our aesthetic priorities, or derivative production, all sorts of variants for all sorts of priorities. And therefore, in answer to this question, with a perceptual BPWC rendering in the print, discovering, oh, I like that, it doesn't make sense to us to then render that into the image, printed BPWS, because the reason we make the aesthetic variants, BPWC, BPWD, BPWN, and so on, is so that the same image can be printed with all these different inflections and soft proofed to get a sense of both the rendering intents and their effects, but also the variants. That's what soft proofing is all about. And that's where we need to go now to complete our answers to these questions. It's through the soft proofing mechanism that enables us to make those judgments on a per image or per portfolio basis as to what combination of rendering and paper qualities, enhanced, manipulated, coerced, and refined according to our judgments in those different variants. Hopefully there's something there of interest, if not some serious help. We wish you all the best, as always, with your adventures in digital fine art printmaking. Take care.